Well, yay! What is up, everybody? We're finally back. We are here again. So my name is Shane. I'm the one that will be doing the activity along with Miss Mama Lynn is here with us.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year.
I'm so excited. This year has gone really, really well so far for me. So I'm here for all the things. I'm trying to call into abundance this year. So I feel like I want an abundance of joy. I want an abundance of travel. Money is nice too. And opportunities. So I think my word this year is going to be yes. Just say yes. That's the word. Well, today it is February. And I figured what best way to do something that centers around the month of love than make ourselves our own Valentine's Day card. We don't need to wait in the mail for somebody else. We don't need affirmation. We don't need confirmation, permission from anybody else. We can give it to ourselves. So
self-love.
Self-love, yes. So I figured we'd make our own Valentine's Day cards and call in what we want and just have a discussion about what is love? It's hard. It's a big word, y'all. So what I want us to first and foremost do is just we're just going to use an old classic heart. So we're just going to do a huge heart, and it's okay if your heart's a little lopsided, all right? Maybe you got more love on the left side than you do on the right side, and that's okay. But we're going to do a big heart in the center. Here we go. My heart's got a shoulder up. It's looking at you like, hey. It's like
It does. Look at our brow.
it's giving you the look. And then what we're gonna do is I want you to do some wavy lines, but make them big, okay? Because we're gonna put words in here. So I'm just gonna do some lines like love is exuding, it's just shining out of your heart. But don't do too many because then you're gonna have to come up with a lot of words. So there, that's about right. Like that. All right. And in the middle of your heart, I want you to do in big, you could do bubble letters, or you could just whatever you do, just make sure it's big. I want you to write I. And then deserve. And that's DESERVE. I deserve. I'm going to put ... All right. So this is going to be an affirmation for ourselves. This is the things that we need in a relationship and in order to feel loved. Because oftentimes if we don't think about it, if we don't think about what love looks like for us, then we can end up in some really bad relationships, right? We can end up in some situationships if we don't really sit and think about, well, what do I need to feel loved? What are my requirements, right? So let's just open up and talk about this for a minute. So what do you think it means to be loved? Like, how do you know someone loves you? How do you feel loved?
I will say that ways that I feel loved, because like what I need, I feel like I am loved when I am heard.
Yes.
I feel I am loved when I am seen. Like when you get away from, first perspectives and, first opinions of me, and you really go into who is Mama Lynn. I feel loved when I am accepted for all that is seen, even if it's things that people may be new to them, it may be indifferent, but I believe that feeling loved is feeling respected in who you are and accepted for who you are as you grow. Because we're not, you're not who you were when you were 8 years old, right? We continue in this beautiful process of life and evolving, right? But like what it is that we show up for, who we are, what we offer, that is something that when someone can be like, can look at you and enjoy it and appreciate it, I feel that that is love. Yeah.
Oh, yes. I really resonated with the to be seen and heard. So for me, I'm probably gonna put I deserve, and then down here to be seen
Mhm.
and heard. And then I really resonated with appreciation too, because it's one thing to do things for your partner. It's one thing to like clean your room or do something for somebody else, but it also makes you feel really, I don't know, it makes me feel loved when someone says, hey, thank you for doing that. You know, like those words of affirmation really, really matters to me. So I'm going to put, I deserve appreciation. Or I deserve appreciation. Yeah.
Absolutely. Appreciation and acceptance. Yeah. Like, I think too, like, appreciate, like, and here's, it's appreciation, without expectation. Like,
Ooh,
the idea that whatever it is that someone decides to offer me, it's, if it's pure love, I'll know it because it resonates, it hits with the things that bring me joy, the things that are about me, right? Because a lot of times people will say, well, I do this for you, why don't you do this for me? Well, because you're you and I'm me, and I show love in a different way, right? I
right.
mean, so um
For me,
I
also,
deserve. Okay.
oh, I was gonna say, for me, I also deserve, like, I feel loved when there's grace.
That word came up today. Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't feel like the world's gonna fall apart if I make a mistake. You know, like I feel safe enough to tell you I made a mistake. Because sometimes I've been in situations where I don't feel safe to say, hey, this went wrong or this didn't get done, you know. But if I feel safe enough to come to the person and be like, hey, I made a mistake, I messed up, let's figure out a way forward. I
Yes.
feel super loved in that case.
So to tie back with to be seen and heard, the idea also of I deserve to feel like I can be vulnerable with someone, that I can make mistakes, that I can be human and that it is received. Yeah.
And another big thing for me is space. Like I deserve space to work it out. Like I don't have to talk to you right now. I don't have to do anything if I'm not I don't have the capacity or if I don't have the energy for. So, especially as a creative, as someone who like writes poetry and paints, like I need space in order to do that, you know? So that's something that a lot of times people don't think about before they go into a relationship, and then they wonder like where things went wrong. And it's
Mhm.
like the other person might be too overbearing, or they might, just be all up in your business all the time, you know?
And space is huge because space is one of those things where it ties in with individuality, that remember, I deserve to be my individual self. Space means I get to be with my friends. Space means I don't have to respond to your text messages the moment that you send them to me. Space means I don't have to pick up every call, like space again. And that it goes back to not having an expectation, to really just allowing it to flow. Like when a breeze comes your way, you enjoy that breeze. You don't expect that the next block will bring you another breeze, but if it does, it's really great, right? Just let it flow and boom.
That's a really good example. Like I never thought about it that way, but that's totally true. That's totally true. Okay, so I'm gonna be real. Like I don't know if this is a Gemini thing because I've heard it is, but I get bored really easily. So I say I deserve adventure. Like I need to feel like me and my person are going to try new things together and go new places. So I feel loved when I am given the opportunity to experience new things. You know,
Yes. Yes.
that
Mhm.
isn't true.
I deserve support. I deserve
Ooh,
encouragement. I deserve, if I want to try out for that job, that the
encouragement.
person who loves me will encourage me to do it. Or if I want to be a part of this club, that the person that loves me or the people that love me will encourage me. And at the same time, I deserve truth. If you
Ooh,
feel that something is not right for me, that you would express it in a very loving way. I deserve
ooh,
truth.
ooh.
Mm.
I'm gonna have to sit with that one. I don't know. Sometimes I don't want the truth. Sometimes I'm like it just, I don't know. I'll work through that. I'll unpack that in therapy. It'll be okay.
Well, because think about this too, like a lot of times people are like, one of the main reasons why, like, I deserve trust. One of the main reasons why trust is broken in relationships, whether we're talking about an intimate relationship or a friendship or even like, siblings, family members, it's, because you violated someone's trust. And part of that is from truth, and that someone may say something and what they feel may not be your truth, it may be their truth, but again, it's about the delivery. But I get it, it's hard, it's a challenge, it's one that makes your neck uncomfortable.
Right. Absolutely. I'm also gonna put to laugh on here because I feel really loved when I can laugh with someone. Like me and Daniel, my partner, we laugh a lot. And it's usually at night when we're tired. So we're getting delirious, right? And we're getting really silly. And we will laugh till like we are in the floor crying. And I feel
Mhm,
like when you have that moment where you can like laugh to the point where you're crying with somebody, like you are bonded with that person, you know?
mhm, mhm. Yes, yes.
Oh,
um
what were you gonna say? Go ahead.
I was going to say something about conversation.
Ooh,
um you know there's there's something really beautiful about actual, like, what we're doing right now. You get to hear my voice, right? You get to see my expressions, you get to hear the tone that I have while I'm sharing my thoughts with you. And a lot of times conversation is lost in the way that we communicate now. And it's this is such a gem to have conversation with people. You can see so much, you can feel so much this way. I
yeah.
deserve conversation.
Absolutely. And for me to feel connected with someone, I have to have like a conversation and typically a deep conversation. It can't just be like about the weather, you know? Like I really need that intimacy and that connection with that other person. That definitely resonates with me as well. Absolutely. Once you have your words around your heart, you can start to decorate it, but be really mindful with what colors and what patterns can go with these things, right? So for me, like let's look at space, right? If it's all about like making sure that I have enough space, I might do bubbles, right? So I'm gonna do like some patterns here. I'm gonna do bubbles because it's like, hey, that's my own little bubble, like don't come in my bubble, right? So I'm gonna start to think about like what are some patterns that I can represent these things in? How can I visually represent space? It might be a planet, I could do a planet, but there's my bubbles for space. Got my little circles for space. And then grace, well, they say grace is a river, right? So maybe I'm gonna do some water, some waves, that kind of looks a little bit like fire, but hopefully I'll just paint it blue. It'll be okay.
I love your rocks. They look like river rocks.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
Mhm. My space has bricks.
Oh, cool.
What is it that you put in between the bricks? What is that? What's the thing that you put over it? The filling? Grace.
Yeah, grace is like a river. So I'm gonna do my water. And then encouragement, that one's harder. What could that look like? So maybe encouragement is arrows going up. Like, you got this.
I was thinking of a fist.
Oh yeah. Or this.
Yeah. My grace is clouds, like the flow of the clouds.
Support, I'm just gonna do some really thick lines, like you got my back, like I feel supported. Just color them in.
For my conversation, I'm doing boomerangs.
Oh, that's cool, because like you say something, the other person says something back. That's smart. Let's see. To laugh, I'm just gonna do some mouths. Why not? I'm gonna do some lips. And some polka dots for deliriousness. All right.
Acceptance, yeah.
What do you think? I know that's
I keep thinking of handshakes or embrace, or like, or even like the fold of the branches on a tree, like the acceptance that this is the way that I'm gonna.
Oh, okay. Like it's open. I like that. I want to do a tree. Thank you. If I can do my branches here. Do some leaves.
My leaves went into my heart. It's around my D.
Okay.
And going with that theme, to be seen and heard, I feel like that's the root. And I'm gonna make some roots.
Oh, that's cool. I think with adventure, I'm gonna do like a treasure map. So like like an X marks the spot type thing. And maybe a GPS like location tracker thing right here.
Aw.
I think for to be seen and heard, I'm just going to do a really big eyeball.
Mm.
All right, I got one more, appreciation. Appreciation. Oh, I know, the emoji with the praying hands.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm gonna do like these cross hatchet things, these like lines of excitement, like, oh, thank you, come through.
I don't have the space for it, but my appreciation has a gift, and I like to figure out, maybe with pencil, not with a marker, different words or gestures that I appreciate coming out of the gift.
Oh, that's cool. I like that idea too. And that gets even more specific, right? You know, on like, well, what type of appreciation? Because there's all different types, you know. I'm gonna darken my heart up a little bit here too. It's kind of lost in all the doodles. Okay, so as we're coloring this, I want to move the conversation, since we're talking about love, into, do you think that love is a choice? Or do you think like you just can't help who you love and then that's just it?
Mm. Well, I think that the choice within love is whether or not you choose to accept that we are it, and that with each connection that we make, it's something that brings us closer to the whole. I feel like with every person that crosses our path, that there is an exchange. Just the fact that you choose to engage with each other, there's a moment of being seen, right? So right there you have kind of like the preliminaries of love. I don't um I don't feel that it's a choice. Not at all. That stuff can sneak up on you completely unexpectedly, and that's the beautiful thing, because it unravels. And whenever, I think that the thing that I feel like, when we realize that there is love in with someone, it's because there's something that we've experienced in them that either we've never experienced before, we've never felt before, or well, yeah, something that we've never felt before, whether it's something that we're experiencing in them, or something that we're experiencing within ourselves because of something that they bring to us. Yeah, I don't think that love is a choice.
I think for me, I think I think it's both. I think that it's not a choice when you first realize that you have this attachment to this person, right? That you feel connected to this person, you feel a bond with them, you feel some type of, love with them. But I think later on it becomes a choice as you go through trials and you decide, you let's say there's an argument an argument or something like that, and you make the choice to work it out, you make the choice to stay, you make the choice to figure out how to move forward. I think that it might not start out as a choice, but I think later on, it becomes, let me see, a good way of wording this might be, you get the opportunity for choice
Right.
later on, you know.
Right.
And then there's some
Mhm.
like situations with family too, where it's like,
Mhm.
I might not like you, but I love you and I choose to love you because you're my family, right? Um,
Mhm.
or it's the opposite, where it's like, I don't like you, but I love you because I don't have a choice. You're my family. But is that obligation at that point? Or is that, you know what I mean? It can get really messy. It can get really messy.
Mhm. Because in the very beginning, you're still making choices, but the thing is that the choices are things that are comfortable with you, or things that are maybe even familiar. It's like the difference between saying, yeah, after you know how to walk, yeah, sure, I'll walk, 2 miles if I need to get somewhere and I really want to get there. But am I willing to skydive there? That's a choice. I don't know. Like, I really have to think about that's the right. Like, is it worth it for me to take that risk? You know?
Yeah. And that's
Mhm.
where we can get clear on what is a risk to you, like, for example, like if I'm dating someone, and like, let's say something common. Okay, so like, I'm older. Let's say I'm dating someone and they ain't got a job and they still living at their mama's house. That's a risk that, we might not be able to grow and get our own house because you ain't doing the things you need to do. But that might be a risk I'm willing to take if I really love you and I think that, I believe in you, right?
Right.
Um,
Hmm. And then it's so interesting too, because the more that you truly allow yourself to fall into that love, the more you learn about yourself, and you learn what your boundaries are. You may not recognize them as that, but an example, let's say that you really care about this person and you realize that you have a love for them, and there are certain habits that they have that aren't habits that either you're familiar with, or habits that don't really match your own values. So is this something that I can have in my life? Like, what is the choice there? What is the risk there? Is that something that I'm willing to compromise with? Oh, that's another really good word. Like, when is it okay to compromise, and who it, when it's not compromising the things that are most important to you, the things that make you who you are, because then you're stepping out of the realm of the love that's most important, which is the self-love. So
right. Because there could be like surface level, compromising, where it's like, oh, what do you want to eat for dinner? And it's like, oh, I want, McDonald's, and the other person wants Sonic. So, and so you compromise on Wendy's, like there's that. And then there's like, I want children, and the other person's like, I don't, and then
right.
like navigate that. That might be like, if you really want that for yourself, you might have to look at, like, is this fair to ask this person to give up their idea of having a family,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or like the person you with is out here doing some shady stuff, and you're like, man, I don't really agree with that. I don't think it's right. And it's compromising who you are as a person,
Right.
you know?
Right. Oh, those watercolors look so beautiful on that.
They're so much fun. It's just the cheap set from Michael's.
There you go. I love that orange. Oh, your shading is so pretty.
A lot of times with this stuff, it's just like letting it, just letting the paint lose its pigment. So
Mm.
you just like smooth it out with water, or let it let it get lighter as you paint down. That really helps. These are really cool because you can move them around a lot. So, okay, so love can, start out not as a choice, but then there's choices you make, right? To keep the love or to continue it, right? I feel
Mhm,
like you can also love somebody from afar. Like you don't have to be with them to love them. You know what I mean?
mhm,
'Cause I
mhm,
say that a lot.
mhm.
I can say like I can love you from over there because you might not be healthy for me right now, you know?
Right, right. And and that's the reason why, like, looking at what you deserve, these are all, because we would never want for you to gain the understanding of this, that these are all elements that we should be getting from, that we should be getting externally, because these are all things that we have to provide for ourselves, right? And the
Absolutely.
more that we provide it to ourselves, the clearer it is for us what is appreciation, what is grace, what is having my own space, what is it for me to feel seen and heard and accepted, what is adventure for me. And a lot of times when we do love someone, the clearer we get to w- what is love to us, the clearer it is for us when it isn't
Right.
what we thought it was, right? And so how do you, like, say, okay, you know what? I love you so much that the best thing for me to do is love you from afar because I
Right.
love myself enough to say we, deuces, but I'm here for you. You can call me.
What's crazy too about this is like if these are the things you want for yourself, like these are the things you need to start giving yourself. Like if you want grace, well, are you being graceful to yourself? Like, do you beat yourself up,
Mhm,
right? Like,
mhm,
if you want adventure, are you allowing yourself to like go to the park or go somewhere different, try different food? Like, or are you waiting on someone else to do these things for you? But if these are your values, these are the way that you feel loved, this is also how you can love yourself,
mhm.
like you were saying. I think that that's a really beautiful way to look at this. And then you can get clear because you might listen, you might say, okay, I really like appreciation. I feel loved when I'm being appreciated. But you might get with somebody and they're just constantly giving you praise. And you're like, dude, you are really, you doing the most. Like, you need to stop. And it can get annoying. So you need to figure out, like, well, what does this look like? To be seen and heard, that could
Right?
turn to be seen and heard could turn into a stalker real quick. Like that person, man, I feel so seen and heard when I'm in his presence. That's because he's stalking you online. He knows everything you're doing.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, get clear. Yeah,
He
get
appreciates me, he acknowledges me, they acknowledge me, they appreciate me, and they don't give you a moment of rest or a moment of your own time away from them. The other thing too, it's funny because one of the things that you mentioned was, like, in exploration food. I don't know how many times I'm in a workshop with young people and I might share that I went to this restaurant and it was so good, and they're waiting for me to say who I went with and are completely shocked when I say I went by myself. Like, the idea of sitting somewhere and, and eating by oneself is like this foreign concept. It's so interesting to me. Like, when a marker, the how do we identify these things for ourselves so that when we are in loving relationships, whether it's with a partner or with a friend, that we don't depend on those relationships to have those moments in our lives, because then what you're creating is codependency. I
yeah.
need this person in my life in order to have that piece of grace or that piece of exploration. No, you've established it for yourself. So having it with them it's just a plus, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, this is a fun exercise to do with your partner so you can see where you line up and what they
Mm-hmm.
need, too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's totally true.
I love it. I love my watercolors. They're still in the box. I just moved, my people. I finally moved into my first house.
New space and first house. Woo!
No more apartments. And I gotta tell you, I miss the closet space, but I love but I love I love I love
I like the idea of a house because like you typically you'll have like a yard, but I don't like the fact that like you gotta mow, like
it's so interesting. One of my biggest joys are the labor that comes with having a home. I was so excited. Trash day is like the peak of my son's Wednesday night because like tomorrow's trash day. Let's get this ready.
aw, that's so cute.
And things like, and I'm so glad that you brought that up because I'm looking forward to mowing the lawn and the leaf blower and bagging all the leaves and garbage bags. And it's so beautiful because I am intentionally using the word love when I'm saying these things because it's all in the simple stuff. It's all in how you choose to see it, how you choose to show up to it. I'm telling you, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. I would encourage you to, because let's say you don't have a partner, but you have a bestie, like do this with your bestie and make it like, what I deserve a friendship, or what I deserve in a loving friendship. Or, if you're close to one of your parents or both, what I deserve in a loving relationship with my parents, like taking it, do it with your teachers. It's like what, because it really gives people an opportunity to explore how we connect with each other. How do we show up for each other? Because at the end of the day, this heart, this idea, this concept of love, this is where it all begins. Every exchange that we have comes from here, whether it's lacking or it's abundant or it's there and we don't even take the time to see it.
That's true. That's beautiful. That is true. Like doing this with a friend or like someone else, even that's close to you, or that you want to understand you. That is guys. Absolutely. Well, y'all, I think that's my piece. I'm done here. I made my own Valentine's Day card. I think I'm gonna put it up in the house.
I love it. Oh, I love the eye.
Well, I hope that y'all real and do this whenever you're feeling a certain type of way, if you and your feelings, do something kind for yourself, all of this helps. It really does. And it's been proven that doing art can lower your blood pressure as long as you aren't trying to make it perfect, right? So, well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Be kind to yourself. Do something really sweet for yourself this month, okay? Promise us that you will. Take yourself out on a date, do something kind for yourself. You deserve it.
Thank you so much for this time. Be well. We love you here.